Hello everyone. In the last video, I had read the chapter The Emergence of a Zoo by Gerald Durrell. In this presentation, I will give the full explanation of the story. So here we start. In this story, Gerald Durrell describes how he realized his dream of a perfect zoo. The author inherited £3,000, but it was not sufficient amount to start a zoo. So he started his career as an animal collector, but he didn't progress much in this field. As an animal collector, the author discovered that most dealers were cramming 20 creatures into a cage designed for one, so it was obvious that most of the creatures would die. If they all survived, well and good, otherwise, the dealers would increase the price on survivors. The author was of not of this mentality, and he could not indulge in this sort of slave traffic as others did. Therefore, he made spacious cages for the animals and gave them proper care. In this process, he lost all his money quickly, and his career as an animal collector came to an end. During the author's short lived career as an animal collector, he had wide schooling in keeping of animals in the tropics, their illness, and their quirks. This taught him that maintaining zoos were not all that easy what he thought to be, so this whole experience was invaluable to him. As an animal collector, the author lost all his money. After that, his elder brother insisted him to start writing books. The author's first book was a great hit, and his subsequent books had been equally popular. This brought about a change in his fortunes. On 14th March 1959, the Jersey Zoological Park came into being. The founding members of the zoo were some beasts which the author had brought from West Africa. He stashed them away in his sister's back garden in Bournemouth. Finally, they were shipped to Jersey. The masons and carpenters were busy laying cement and making cages. It was a scene of frenzied activity. They made the cages from everything they could get their hands on and transformed the things which people discarded. Cages were not good looking yet serviceable. The zoo was built in the outskirts of the city. It was completely idyllic with nature's beauty. The author mentioned a busier happening one afternoon, taking advantage of the situation when no one was around. The two half-grown chimpanzees, Chumley and Lulu, came out of their cage and reached the author's mother's house. They banged on the front door, and the author's mother, after hearing this peremptory bang, got puzzled and opened the door. She found these two chimpanzees on the front stairs but didn't lose her control and invited them in. She made them sit down on a sofa and gave them some chocolates and biscuits. While they were busy feeding on those, she rang up and reported to the authority about the incident. The author was quite worried about the incident and asked his mother that why did she allow them. She said that they were very happy and better behaved than some of the people in the zoo. The author narrated another incident of the zoo. An enormous and beautifully reticulated python named Pythagoras, about 12 feet long, he was kept in a cage which was badly designed, and it was difficult to clean this cage without getting the python out. Cleaning the cage was a three-man job where two would restrain Pythagoras and the third would clean the cage. John Hartley, a young, handsome lad who was in charge of the reptile section, showed enthusiasm and tried to clean Pythagoras' cage all by himself. But the snake threw his coils around him and bound him in a tight grip. The author was passing the reptile house at dusk after the zoo had closed when he heard John's shout for help and rushed to his assistance. While he was trying to unwind the snake from John, he threw his coils around him too, and soon they were inextricably linked as Siamese twins. And they both started to yell for help. They were worried, thinking that the star would have left and they would have to stand there all night, bound in the coils of Pythagoras. Fortunately, their cries were heard by the member of the mammal staff, and with his help, they were rescued and Pythagoras was restored to his rightful home. John was made his personal assistant just after the incident occurred. Here, the author humorously tells that he had developed a bonding with him after they were coiled by the python. According to the author, this type of incidents did not cause any barriers to their lives as they were the part and parcel of their lives and work. There were over 1,000 animals, and out of this, 90% were threatened with extinction. The zoo had a glittering array of reptiles and snakes, tortoises, and chocolate brown gorillas. There was a tapestry of birds, cranes, pigeons, and flamingos. There were also tamarins, marmosets, the babirusa, cheetahs, etc. When the author's friends saw all the animals then, they asked the author how and why he set up the zoo. The author answered that the zoo has over 1,000 animals, and out of this, 90% were threatened with extinction, primarily due to man's activities. So, his aim was to provide a sanctuary for these creatures so as to save them. Thank you. We will meet in the next video. Stay safe.